think that digital IDs, if they are brought in, that really is the hill to die on. It is the line between, it's the merging of the state and the individual. And if you ask me, they should be separate. There should be mass decentralization, and digital IDs pave the way towards an authoritarian state. I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I think after COVID, it seems highly plausible that they'll be abused, and the world leaders across the West seem to admire China. You might remember when Trudeau says he admired China's basic dictatorship was his quote. So it's not a leap to
I
to
forgot about
imagine
that.
like yeah, it's I didn't. It's not a leap to imagine them sort of you buy one steak that month and then your car goes beep. You've had your steak for this month. Eat the bugs, or you express an opinion on Twitter or on a sign, suddenly you can't get an Uber and so on. I think this is
Mhm.
highly plausible. People say well, that's crazy. I'm not even that sort of much of a conspiracy guy, but I think that's highly plausible.
It is,
Um,
and when people say, "Oh, we'd never copy China," it's like we locked down. China were the first to go to close their country down, and we thought, "Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll copy a communist country and take away everyone's freedoms." It's like, yes, it's very much in the pipeline, and very possible that a social credit style system could come to the UK. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's pretty, yeah. I mean, we've got the infrastructure for it, and we've
mm,
got the authoritarian, technocratic, globalist nut jobs that want to run our country. So I don't think it's out of the question at all.
yeah, I agree. But later, hopefully, we'll find some disagreement. But just to make it more interesting, but why do you think Starmer has done this now? Because Blair's been trying to do this in my entire lifetime, virtually. Maybe not my entire lifetime, but certainly since about the 90s, certainly the early
Mm.
2000s. Why now, when Starmer is so unpopular? Why does he suddenly bring this in now?
Well, first of all, Blair kind of succeeded. I mean, in 2010, national identity cards were brought in, and then in 2011, they were chucked out again, and there was huge pushback. I mean, even going back into a post-war climate, Winston Churchill, obviously, they brought in national ID cards during the war, but then Winston Churchill abolished them for very similar reasons. And I think that, if you ask me, I think it's twofold. So, how conspiratorial do you want to go? In the one sense, you could say, I think Starmer's just grasping at straws, panicking, and wants to look like he's doing something productive. And it's just a publicity stunt to make him look like he's capable of dealing with mass illegal migration. There's definitely a huge amount of truth in that. But I also think there's a more concerning, more maybe nefarious narrative where you have got outsiders like Tony Blair, who very much is in the ear of Starmer, I think, with the Tony Blair Institute. And then you've got the World Economic Forum and Davos and then the United Nations Agenda 2030 goals. And then when you really start to sort of draw all of these groups and organizations and institutions together, and then you look at COVID as well and how involved the World Health Organization was in our politics, you start to realize that whilst Starmer is obviously the front man of our country, as depressing as it is, he's also easily influenced and infiltrated by private institutions outside of our politics. And I think that the more concerning and nefarious approach would be he's being told to do it. This has been part of something that's been on the cards for a long time. COVID and vaccine passports made that much more possible and exposed the public as to how submissive they would be when it comes to authoritarian measures. And Starmer is an very authoritarian man, as we've seen with lockdowns and in his support of that, and how he wants harder and longer lockdowns and free speech crackdowns and all these things. So I think that Starmer actually enjoys the idea of controlling the population and enforcing his principles. And I think that he also enjoys it along with a bunch of people who are very willing to infiltrate our government, our cabinet, and find nefarious methods to bring in their sort of globalist agenda into our country. I don't think that's out of the question.